If you're new to the channel, this was our 1998 Sea Ray 330 Sundancer that we enjoyed for 5 seasons. But I'm going to tell you, it was a bit of a challenge to actually find this boat, buy it, and get it home. More on that later. But I'm going to take you along for the journey to show you why it seemingly took forever to be able to buy this boat, and the fact that we had to travel to 2 different countries, searching high and low before this boat finally found us. Now, this boat was Sea Ray number 5 for us that we had owned over the years. And our prior boat to that was a much larger Sea Ray 400 sedan bridge. And I'm going to include just a little bit of background from the time that we had sold the 400 just prior to buying this boat, as it was part of our boat downsizing that we were doing at the time. And we'll also fill in the gaps as to why we settled on this particular boat and model when we did. After 7 seasons of owning this beautiful Sea Ray 400 sedan bridge, we decided it was time to move on. Yes, we still love the boat, and yes, it was still beautiful, but by this point in time, we simply weren't using the boat as much as we should have. Given the value of the boat, as well as the ongoing costs of keeping it in the marina, storage fees, haul out, winterizing, and on and on and on, we decided it was time to move on to something else. So on that fateful September weekend, our last getaway with that boat, Anchor Girl and I decided to sell the boat and downsize to something else. Still wanted to stay with a Sea Ray because, including this 400, that was our 4th Sea Ray already, so might as well just keep the tradition going.
Could this be the last boat ride of Boogaboo 4?
Just gonna let y'all know that Boogaboo 4, that beautiful Sea Ray of ours, has been sold. We have decided not to get out of boating. Of course, we're not going to get out of boating. So we haven't had the time this year, even started last year, to use the boat as much as we should. To keep that big boat in a slip and not being able to use it or even necessarily be on it on some weekends, you feel guilty. So leave that beautiful boat sitting there and not being utilized to its fullest extent was not a good thing.
However, the boat that we initially agreed on, the boat that we both said that we're going to get, it had everything, ended up not being the right boat for us. And it came down to this. It simply didn't have enough refrigeration on board the boat. The boat that we had in mind, the boat that we, like I said, initially agreed upon, was a late 90s Sea Ray 310 Sundancer. So it ticked all the boxes for what we thought we needed at that time, except it only had a very small compact fridge down in the galley. And that was it. There was no fridge in the cockpit or anything else. So Anchor Girl pointedly asked me one day, she goes, "Where are you going to keep your beer on the boat?" And I said, "In the fridge." And she goes, "Well, where's the food go?" I said, "Well, we can get a little cooler and put it at the back." And I was like, no, ain't going to happen. I need a fridge for the food. So after a little bit more looking online, we decided to go with the next boat up from the 310, which was the 330 Sundancer, because it was basically the same as the 310, just a little bit longer, a little bit wider, but it did have a bigger fridge in the galley for all the food, as well as a smaller fridge in the cockpit area. And both fridges were AC, DC powered, so that would have been good for traveling and, just keeping stuff on the boat. So that's what we decided to look for. Yeah, so easy peasy. We know what kind of boat we're going to buy, so let's go and buy one. Well, it's not that simple. As we have found in the past, and especially the more recent past, even though some people have a boat for sale or a broker has a boat for sale, doesn't necessarily mean that whoever is on the other end wants to sell. Literally the day that we closed the deal on the 400, I was contacting people online, 3 of which who had 330 Sundancers for sale. The actual boats that we were interested in, the boat that we wanted to buy. I had contacted these 3 sellers on the Sunday, and I think by the following day, I had already scheduled 3 showings for the following weekend. Problem was, by the Thursday of that week, each one of them, one by one, all in the span of that one day, emailed me, said, "No, we don't want you to come by, the deal's off, and no more showings. We're not selling the boat." Well, the first one's like, "Well, that's disappointing. All right, well, sorry, maybe we'll talk to you in the spring." So by the time I got the second and the third email, saying the same thing, we decided to take the boat off the market. It's not for sale. Sorry. And, we're not doing anything this year. I thought, like, what the hell? Is this some sort of conspiracy against us? Why would 3 sellers all on the same day decide, after making arrangements a couple of days earlier, no, the boat's not for sale? Of course, I don't know what motivated them to take their boats off the market, especially at such a late day. Remember, this is going on to the very end of the season. You think that people want to be done with their boats and have it sold so they don't have to worry about it over the winter. But you know what? We had the same thing happen to us after we sold the boat that we were looking for, and we're moving on to the following boat. But that's another story from the next video. So I guess you're gonna have to stick around to hear that one. Of course, both Anchor Girl and I were a little bit frustrated, to say the least. And I said, you know what? We're already approaching October. The season is winding down for everybody. So why don't we just pull back from this whole idea? We'll take the winter, we'll take the off season to look around, see if something else develops, and we'll move on it then for the spring. Because either way, at this time of the year, it's more than likely that we won't have a boat in our possession before the spring anyways. So let's just calm down and keep an eye out and see what happens over the winter. But the fun doesn't end there. So to take our minds off this whole situation, and given the fact that we didn't even take any summer holidays on the boat, last minute decided, let's go to Fort Lauderdale and go visit the boat show. Because why not? Hey, it's the biggest in-water boat show in the world, and something that I had looked forward to eventually doing one day. So I said, you know what, let's go. We'll take a week off, we'll drive down, and we'll check out the boat show and see what's going on there. Now, we had been to Fort Lauderdale a number of times prior to this, so we were familiar with the city. It's a beautiful city, gorgeous beach, and said, let's just have a good time and get away and get our minds cleared of this whole boating thing. Of course, going to the biggest boat show in the world is probably not the best place to get your mind away from boating, but we did, and we had a fun time.
As much fun as it was to wander around all those mega yachts, we discovered two things. First of all, we couldn't find anything in our price range. And second of all, we couldn't find anything that would fit in our marina. So after visiting that for a few days, it was time to head back north and the reality of, Canadian winters. By this point, we had discovered a couple more local contenders in our boat search. One boat in particular, we're going to have to circle back to a little bit later on in this video. After enduring this cold winter for a couple more months, we decided to head back down south for a few weeks and enjoy the sunshine. Another road trip south, but this time we're going to be taking a different route, which will take us through Ohio, which again, we're going to have to circle back to in this video. This time around, we headed over to the other side of Florida on the beautiful Gulf of Mexico, where we could do some potential hunting for another boat. While we were down there just randomly driving around, stumbled upon the Sea Ray dealer who happened to have a nice 340 Sundancer in stock. It just come in on trade. As nice as that boat was, we decided to take a pass on it and keep looking for a freshwater boat.
Hey everyone, just want to let you know we are buying a boat soon. The number one question I keep getting, are you guys buying a boat? When are you going to buy a boat? So I'm going to answer both those questions succinctly. Yes, we are buying another boat. Anchor Girl cannot be without a boat. She's already getting jittery the whole time we've been down here in Florida. She's been looking. So we know what we're going to get. We just don't know exactly when. We will have something in the water floating with the name Boogaboo back on the transom this spring. Why aren't we going to buy it right now, right away? Two reasons. First of all, it's January and we are in Florida on a beach. So we are 1,400 miles from home. Makes it a little difficult to actually make a transaction. And as well, where we will be buying a boat will be in the North Country, so the water is frozen out. It's still a frozen winter wasteland up there. No, we're not going to buy a boat in Florida. No, I'm not going to buy a saltwater boat. So that's that, so you don't have to ask about that. So like I said, we know what we're going to do. I know when it's going to happen. It will happen this spring over the coming months. And yes, I will let you all know. You will be the first person to know. Well, actually, you're going to be the third person to know, because Anchor Girl is going to make the ultimate decision. Then she's going to tell me, and then I will let you guys know. So I hope that puts that matter to rest. Thank you, and that's all I have to say right now.
Departing Florida and heading back home, we had to make a last-minute change in our plans because one of the boats that had been for sale and then not for sale back in the fall suddenly came back on the market. So I talked to the seller. I said, no problem. We're on our way home from Florida. We should be up there in a few days, but rather than travel this way, we're going to come more over to your side and head up and take a look at the boat. And if it looks good, we can make a deal hopefully right then and there. But for whatever reason, once again, there was no deal to be had because the seller
literally hours before we were to be there, and despite having made arrangements days ahead of time, and despite changing our travel plans, contacted me, says, yeah, no, sorry, man, the deal's off. Somebody came today, he bought the boat, and that's it, so it's not available. Yeah, no problem. It's okay. It's only January, and we have lots of time to wait. So there was another boat that we wanted to see, so we made arrangements to go look at it. It was 4 hours away. We got there, we looked at it with the seller, and we said, yeah, it looks good, and we're prepared to make an offer. And he says, well, no, I'm not really accepting offers right now. Why not? Is the boat for sale or not? He goes, yeah, but I'm going to wait until the boat is actually launched in the water, and at that time I'll take bids, and then the highest bidder can have it. Yeah, obviously just another big frustration, because if we were going to buy a boat, we want to know that we had a commitment to buy that boat, because if we're not going to buy that boat, we're going to look for another boat. I just don't get how some people work. I just don't get it. So miracle of miracles, another 330 Sundancer came on the market, and yeah, we went to look at it. I'll be honest, and I said this right to the seller at the time. I said, the boat is a lot dirtier than I expected, or we had hoped for. So let's see what we can do for the negotiation. Anyways, long story back and forth. There was some negotiation. We looked at it, really close, and decided it's basically surface grime that we could clean up. So we made an offer, and it was accepted. Again, tentative to both a survey as well as a sea trial.
Well, folks, I come to you from another cold, frigid day, winter day, but I come to you with good news. Good news, first of all, that winter will be over soon, shortly, I hope, because my hands are freezing off here. But I want to just show you, this is going to be our new boat slip, and the good news is, today, Anchor Girl and I made our deal to buy the new boat. Ta-da! So, without further ado, here it is. That is the best shot that I have right now, because currently the boat is sitting under shrink wrap many miles from here. The boat is, to let you all know, it is a 1998 Sea Ray, what else, 330 Sundancer. Beautiful boat. As you know, this was all part of a downsizing situation, so that is the boat that we feel is going to give us the best bang for the buck, as it were. I mean, it's just the right size. Yes, it's a step down size-wise, but it's a step sideways in our boating career. Like I say, the only problem is that we're going to be biting our nails, so to speak, for the next few weeks, waiting for the weather to clear. But probably, realistically, second week of April, maybe, to get it. And then we're going to have it shipped down this way.
Well, that hope of launching the boat within a couple of weeks turned out to be wishful thinking. We're about to get pounded by tons and tons of rain, constant rain for weeks on end, which led to flooding conditions and, of course, a delay in getting the boat into the water. Here we are the following weekend going for another visit to the boat, because we had the surveyor coming as well. I wanted to get the shrink wrap off, and we both want to start cleaning up the inside of the boat as much as we could, that is, with no hot running water. It's Friday afternoon. We just got here about a half an hour ago. I've been inside the boat just exploring things, playing with the stereo, of course, and just trying to find out where everything is. Now, we got here later than we expected to today, so there's very little else that I'm going to do today here. And we will be back tomorrow morning, because tomorrow is the day that the shrink wrap comes off, the canvas goes up, and the our marine surveyor is coming by tomorrow as well, do his thing. So we're hoping that the weather is going to really start to cooperate with us, because this morning when we left home, which is 4.5 hours west of this point, we had 4 to 5 inches of snow, and it was really rough conditions on the roads. I shouldn't say rough, I'm talking like we're on the water in the boat. The roads were pretty brutal for the first hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. The wind has just been howling again all day, and so that fresh snow was drifting across the road. Saw a couple cars in the ditch, head-on collision, blah blah blah. Typical bad winter weather driving conditions. But fortunately, like I say, about halfway here, the snow just all of a sudden looks like it crossed the line, and it was gone. It was disappeared. There's a little bit of snow coming down now, just light flaky stuff, but still cold. It's just above freezing. But tomorrow
The forecast is still a little bit windy, but sunshine and warmer. It's supposed to go up all the way to 8 degrees Celsius, which is about 43, 44, 45 Fahrenheit, which is good. It's going to be the warmest that's been so far this year. Shrink wrap down tomorrow, and we're going to do some cleaning. We bought a bunch of cleaning supplies. I brought that up onto the boat today because it's pretty dirty and it needs it. So hopefully a little bit warmer out tomorrow. We can get at least the start on it. The owner's going to be here as well, and the seller, I should say, and he is going to just finish off clearing out his last personal effects off the boat. And yeah, that'll be it. So I will check in with you tomorrow, show you what the boat looks like out of the shrink wrap, and let you know how we made out with the survey. So fingers crossed, wish us luck for clean survey and clear skies, sunshiny and warm skies.
Thankfully, the clear skies and sunshine that I had asked for showed up, and I was able to take the shrink wrap down. And I'll tell you this about that. Every year that we take the shrink wrap off, it's like opening a new present. And especially in this case here, because we had never seen the boat outside of the shrink wrap. And that was another condition of the purchase, that I would be able to take the shrink wrap off and have a closer look at the deck and everything before we move forward. And luckily, everything was in good shape and nothing to complain about.
Hey folks, just a quick update to let you know that the survey went really well today. A couple of small issues, but let's just put it this way, nothing that was really unexpected for a 20-year-old boat, especially a Sea Ray. So Anchor Girl and I are very happy about that. We spent the better part of the day cleaning inside. Got a ways to go yet, but we're happy. It's coming along fantabulously, and I'll be sharing some more pictures with you later on. So happy boating. Cheers.
We were lucky that we had a couple of nice sunny days that we could do as much cleaning as possible. Again, the boat wasn't filthy. It just had a lot of surface grime, shall we say, and it needed some TLC. So after a couple of days of hitting it with, spray bottles of cleaners, I know we went to the store ahead of this and we filled a trunk with just so many cleaners and buckets and so on and so forth. But we didn't have any hot running water at this point. So we could do what we could do, and that was about it. But again, it was a nice sunny day. We were able to get into a lot of the corners and just clear out a lot of stuff out of the boat. And by the time we were done, we were feeling a lot better about it. And I was actually slowly falling in love with this boat, believe it or not. So with the spring runoff in full force, and given the fact this was right on the side of the Rideau Canal, the marina was getting quite flooded, and we were getting a little bit concerned about when the boat might be able to get launched. And even though we weren't planning on driving the boat home on its own keel, we still wanted to get it in the water so we could do a sea trial.
The water level is really, really high, and I'm going to give you some shots of what it looks like. And that may or may not impede the launching of the Boogaboo, because, well, this was still ice last weekend. There's still ice down the lake. A lot of the ponds are still covered in ice, even though we're on Lake Simcoe, and the rivers and everything else have been wide open for at least a week. So I'm just going to spin the camera around and show you how high the water level is. There is the launch ramp, as Anchor Girl so astutely pointed out. And this is definitely a little bit soft here. So there's the big machine that they use to launch the boats with. I was speaking with the property owner, the marina operator, last weekend, and he was just saying that it is more soft over here than anywhere else. So until that water drops a little bit and things dry up, they're not going to be launching anybody. Well, we'll see. Hopefully over the next week things will dry up a little bit, even if the water doesn't necessarily drop the level that is. Hopefully it'll get a little bit drier and we can start moving boats. And if you look yonder, you see there's one boat in the water that they got in a week ago, just before it started to rain, because the ground was still frozen. So they're able to launch that beautiful 340 Sundancer, which is more or less a sister ship to our new 330. So they're floating, and that's good for them. But it is definitely a very, very pretty area. Now the Rideau Canal is very similar to the Trent Severn Waterway. It's a series of lakes and rivers and locks, and this one runs from Kingston in the south up to Ottawa, Ontario. Pretty spot.
So thankfully, over about the next week and a half or so, the water subsided enough that the marina was able to get at the boat, launch it, and get it in the water. So we could return to the marina and do our sea trial.
Well, Anchor Girl is happy and laughing because I just hit the fridge. But besides that, we have so much more to celebrate because not only are we floating and feeling that gentle rocking motion of the boat once again.
We have a boat.
What she just said, we have a boat. After months of Anchor Girl anguishing over the fact that
We didn't have a boat.
we didn't have a boat, are we getting a boat, or we're going to get a boat? Where's the boat coming from? Well, fortunately, as you all know, the boat found us, and here we are aboard. Say it with me out loud. The new Boogaboo. Woohoo! So we are in the water. The boat was launched a week ago. Less than an hour ago, we finished our sea trial. All went well. Boat's running smooth, purring like a kitten, driving smooth, no
Everything
vibrations, no
works.
shakes. Everything works. Fired up the Jenny, put a full load on it, the air conditioning, heat. Good news, the hoo-ha news. We are floating. It is our boat. Anchor Girl's very happy that we finally have a boat again.
Yep.
And the motion of the boat feels good. That we are now floating. We're boat owners and we have the new Boogaboo. So welcome to her. Hoo-ha. Hold it. Congratulations, honey.
Thank you.
Yeah, all smiles and really happy that the boat was in the water and that our sea trial went so well. Yet it would be another week before we could return and have our trailer guy meet us there to pick up the boat and take it home. And in the meantime, you guessed it, tons of rain more. Lots of rain. And look at that. This is the first time Anchor Girl ever wore rubber boots in her life. And that was a little bit of a learning curve for her. But she survived.
So as Anchor Girl trundles off with the garbage from the boat, don't trip on those lines, honey. Trip hazard. I'm just going to show you how high the water level is. You can see there, basically where those white buoys are floating. I think they hooked those up today just to show where the edge is, because that's actually a break wall going across there. And farther over where the launch ramp is, it's overflowing probably 30 feet into the parking lot. It's really cool. Oh, look at Anchor Girls sloshing along there through the water. Nice boots.
These boots are made for walking.
Here. Look at that. Crazy. She needs the truck open. I gotta go. Crazy water here on the Rideau Canal, and the Rideau Canal is now come ashore. Half the docks are underwater here. Never seen anything like it, kids. Seen a lot of water on boats in the past. 2014 was another banner year. Super high water levels on our home lake, on Lake Simcoe, but this is nuts. Getting dangerous. So tomorrow's the day, folks. Tomorrow we'll be on the trailer and we'll be out of here. Now, if you look really, really close, you'll see somewhere in there is a launch ramp. And I just got to make sure when I bring the boat up to the trailer, I don't hit those submerged docks over there or along here. So wish me luck.
Now, this is an awesome photo that Anchor Girl took as I was bringing the boat over to the launch ramp and clearly the trailer. As you can see, this really paints a picture, to give you an idea of how much water was around, not only on the water, but over the whole marina. And my biggest challenge was, apart from the fact that I had never driven this boat before, I was super unfamiliar with it, there was a number of submerged docks on either side of me as I was approaching the trailer. Again, I'm driving blind, driving by feel, and just a general sense of where everything was around me. Thankfully, it all went smoothly.
The full credit to Anchor Girl for taking such great footage with her phone as I was bringing the boat onto the trailer. And what I'm going to actually share with you right now was the best of, because there was a couple of attempts, a couple of runs at the trailer, again, not knowing exactly where the docks were around me, behind me, and people on the dock pointing here, there, and everywhere. And of course, Keith, the trailer guy, saying, this way, that way. A little nervous, a little stressful? Yes, absolutely. I'll be honest with you. It was challenging, shall we say, but it all worked out fine. Got the boat onto the trailer and ultimately got it home. But I will let you know, if you want to see the full expanded view of me driving the boat all the way over from where we were moored over here and my multiple attempts to get the boat on the trailer, that's already on my channel. I'm going to leave a link to it. And if you haven't fallen asleep by the end of this long-winded video, just take a look down in the description and the link to the full video of the bring the boat onto the trailer and us bringing it home and such is there. You can take a look at it.
Well, we're out of the water.
Now, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this in this video, but this was a true ta-da moment for me. I'm so happy that the boat got onto the trailer, and here we are just getting it all fastened down, ready for the ride home. Just a big shout out to everybody that was there that day, offering assistance and giving me a hand. Couldn't have done it without you guys. And yes, despite the misgivings of our trailer guy, we left the canvas on for the ride home, as we had already planned for and booked to have the complete canvas replaced in just a few weeks.
Well, she made it all in one piece. Give us the thumbs up there, honey. Canvas is all still together, despite the reservations of Trailer Man. She survived.
Yeah, so after all of our efforts, it was great to finally have the boat home. And look at that, we briefly had the old Boogaboo and the new Boogaboo side by side. And to celebrate our first evening on the boat, I decided to buy Anchor Girl a beautiful dinner. French fried potatoes from the chip truck. And this part of our boating journey comes full circle as we wave goodbye to the old Boogaboo as she departs the marina for the final time. Okay, honey, enjoy your drink. I got to get to work. I got a list a mile long of things I got to do. Oh man, where do I start? I got to clean the bilge, replace the microwave, install new engine belts, replace the impeller on the generator, practice my boat yoga, take the boat over for new canvas.
Okay, Anchor Girl is smiling because we're back on board Boogaboo with the new top.
I love it.
Bring the boat back home, rebuild the water pump on the generator, replace the distributor caps, clean the sump well, install a new control board on the generator, replace the battery, fix the leaky railings, remove and reseal the hatches, practice more boat yoga. Oh, install a nice shiny new stainless steel anchor. Install a new VHF radio. Replace all the fenders. Fix the windlass foot switches. Replace the VHF radio antenna. Oh, here's a big one. Replace the holding tank. Service the vacuum flush system. Replace a float switch. Fix whatever I was doing there on the dash. Replace the oil sender. Waterproof the canvas. Install that thing. Install a new depth finder. Ooh, new anchor rodent chain. Stock the fridge. Anchor Girl, I thought that was your job. New Boogaboo name. Oh, just another small project. Let's replace the swim platform. Practice more boat yoga. What the hell is that? Yeah, swap that thing out. Ooh, new clamshell vents. Did I just replace those? Install a new smart battery charger, one that actually works. Break time. Yep, new duckbill valve. Did I even need to replace this thing? Install a remote monitor for the battery charger. More boat yoga? No, I was just replacing all the spark plugs. replace one of the starters, add an auxiliary muffler for the generator, replace the faucet in the cockpit sink. Ooh, replace one of the alternators. Oh yeah, install this beautiful dingy davit system. Ooh, looks like another VHF radio. What happened to the old one, Paul? Why don't we just replace the whole water pump on the generator? Ooh, nice new stereo amplifier. And new speakers. Hey, let's just yank out the porthole windows and reseal them. That looks like a 5-minute job. And finally, one more boat yoga session. Yeah, no wonder I'm in such great shape. Yeah, it may seem like there was a storm of work I had to do on that boat. And trust me, even for me, it sometimes felt like there was a continuous downpour of more and more projects that I had to do on that boat. But luckily, once the clouds cleared out, there was a pot of gold at the end of our rainbow. And we were able to travel extensively with that boat, putting a lot of hours on it, both discovering new places as well as returning to some of our old favorites. Happily, we got 5 years of great enjoyment out of this boat. And if you'd like to see more, including all the projects I just showed you, I'll leave a link down in the description to both my how I did it, boat repairs and upgrades videos, because I got a ton of them that I did on this boat. And if you want to check that out, look down the description for the link, because there's a lot of projects that are not necessarily only Sea Ray specifics. And if you have a boat of any make or model, trust me, you're going to have problems with it. So check out that playlist and maybe there's something in there that might help you down the road. And beyond that, I have a separate playlist of over 200 videos. So if you're interested in seeing all the travels and the adventures that we did on this boat, again, there'll be a separate playlist. Look for that down in the description. Now, finally, and I probably left this too late to say, but if you've been able to endure over 30 minutes of me talking and showing you all the beautiful pictures and stuff, and you want to see more, I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed, please don't forget to ring the notification bell, because beyond this boat, I have a ton of videos. I got hundreds of videos of all of our other travels with our past and present boats, and I will continue to do so as long as I am able to. So I would really, really appreciate if you could follow along, because we have a lot more travels coming up, and I hope to bring you along for the ride. And as always, I look forward to your comments. I'd love to get your feedback and let me know what you thought about this video. And until next time, happy boating, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.